What's up, YouTube? So today's video, I'm gonna be changing the oil. So this is Liqui Moly 5W40 Leichtlauf High Tech. This is a motor oil made in Germany, and it's pretty good stuff. I actually have to order this online from europaparts.com, one of the sites where I get most of my Audi stuff. So I'm going to be doing that today, as well as checking the underbody, the control arms, and making sure, you know, the dealer put everything back together for my motor mount change. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so we got the car all nice and lifted off the ground. So before I get to the oil, I'm going to show you guys the control arms and primarily what to look for when they need to be changed. So mine are coming due, and it might be kind of hard to see on the phone, but if you can notice those cracks in the bushings, that's a good indication that the control arms are close to being done or due, but not quite. So unless the bushing is completely torn through, you'll be fine, because you're going to get cracks in your bushings regardless, just because of age and stuff. But as long as the bushings aren't completely, you know, torn through, you should be fine. Now the major control arm right here, this one would rarely crack. I mean, this is a tough control arm bushing, so you really got to be doing something crazy to get this one to go bad. But like I said, once this one goes, you should obviously feel it. Not so much with this one. I mean, you will, but that's the main one back there. So just keep an eye on your control arms and should be good, as well as the ball joints. If you start to see any fluids leaking, your ball joints are likely gone bad, as well as your tie rod, which is right here. So just keep an eye out on these guys, as well as your axle, because these can also go bad and start to leak. If you're wondering, I replaced all of these on the A5, so it's pretty much how I know what to look for. So as far as the axle, good indication that you are having a bad axle, or if the boot has torn, is that you'll see grease literally splattered from the rotation of the wheel all over in the inside of your wheel well and in the suspension component. So if you notice some type of grease just out of the blue, check your, you know, axle cover, just make sure it's not torn or anything. So yeah, I just wanted to go over that real quick for those who are not too familiar with your control arms. Just keep an eye out on the cracks and everything, and you should get a nice ride. So let's continue on with the oil change. All right, so got the belly pan off the car. Yeah, see, that's our oil drain plug. But let's just firstly look, make sure, you know, the dealer didn't do anything crazy while they were under here. Everything looks good. So if you guys are under here, if you want to see the motor mounts, let's see, right up in there. Let's see if I get the flashlight to shine in there. Well, okay, so if you see that guy right there, that's your driver's side motor mount. And when I was under here, that was dried up fluid right underneath it and on the subframe of the car. So that was my indication that the driver's side at least was going bad. So that's when I took it to the dealer, and apparently my passenger side was also bad, but it wasn't leaking, so I guess it collapsed from the top and all the fluid stayed inside. And then my transmission mount, which is back there, also collapsed. So if you're under here and you wanted to have a good indication of your driver's side motor mount, just look through above your tie rod or steering joint, and you should see any fluids, if there is any. If there's not any fluids, then it's a good indication that your driver's side or your motor mounts in general are good. So they are a do-it-yourself type of job, but it took me a while. So if you got plenty of time on your hands, go at it. But yeah, it's a very extensive job. So all right, let's get this oil drained. All right, so the oil is being drained. I'm gonna let that drain for a little bit. So if you're changing your oil, it really doesn't matter if you change it while hot or cold. However, if you want it to flow a lot quicker, you'd want the oil to be slightly warm, borderline hot. So that way you also get any sediments that are floating around in your oil to come out pretty easily. So like I said, it's really up to personal choice how you want to do your oil change. I normally do it while the engine oil is pretty hot, just so I can get, you know, the most of it out. Plus it saves a little bit of time. So also you might get some, I don't know, like I said, debris, carbon stuff might be easier to get while it's hot, whether if you do it cold, it might be harder to get out. So yeah. Also, I choose to do it from the bottom just because I'm old school. There's pumps that you can actually do it from the top, so you don't have to get underneath the car and everything. Supposedly you get a lot more oil out that way. So something to look into if you want. Or you can just be like me and just do it old school way. So yeah. So yeah, just gonna let that drain for a bit. And yeah. Alright, so she's back on the ground. Got the old oil out. Now we're about to change out the filter. Got the new filter here. Old filter right there. As well as this tool. This tool will come pretty handy. This is the wrench to get the oil filter cap off. Definitely comes in handy to make this job a lot easier. Let's see here. Go down this side. It's made by Schwaben. You can get this probably off of ECS Tuning or any European only sites, so definitely worth checking out. So we got the old oil still in there. That's okay. One thing to note, be careful when you're taking off the canister. You do not want to hit this guy right here. That is your crankcase breather hose, and it's hard plastic, so it can potentially crack. And if it cracks, you're gonna get a slight volume leak. So you don't want that. So just be careful when you're removing it. I don't recall this being directly right here in the A5, but for some reason it's right in the middle of the traffic for the S5. So just be careful. You don't want to have this piece of plastic right here crack on you. So and I got a little oil I gotta clean up. It's all good. So we're just gonna put the new filter on, put in the oil, and start this bad boy up. Like I said, it's a pretty simple oil change. Nothing really crazy, but if you do have questions, just let me know. All right, take care.